The Bears sitting at 10 on the board that you currently have set up. What do you think they're going to do here, Mike?
We talked briefly last week about it, Rich, and I'm not changing my thought process. I love Tyler Warren there. Um, I'm a Cole Kmet fan, but I love both of them in the game at the same time. I love a quarterback right now. He's got DeAndre Swift in the backfield. He's loaded at wideout. They just upgraded the interior offensive line, and you've got to continue to help this kid play at a higher level. And I think a guy with the unique skill set of Tyler Warren from Penn State does that. He can line him up everywhere. He's built more like a Gronkowski than a smaller, quicker tight end. He's not afraid to block. You can move him like a Swiss Army knife all over, fullback, Y, wing back. He was a shotgun guy at Penn State. I'm not sure he's going to be in the shotgun there, but at the end of the day, I love the fit.
Okay. Now the 49ers are sitting there at 11.
Yep.
What do you think they are going to do here, Mike?
This is a season of transition for them. They've let go a lot of high-priced veterans. In free agency, they signed a lot of kind of rotational backups, not starters. So this draft, they've got 11 picks in this draft, 2 in the third, 2 in the fourth. This is a kind of a huge draft in their franchise right now. They've got to take advantage of it. I think they look at this and they go, okay, what do we need here? D-line, O-line for sure, but no corners are off the board. And I think you can look at Will Johnson, and I think you can look at Jahdae Barron. And I think Barron, with the versatility of playing outside or nickel and being a little cleaner, he's run his 40. He's done all the things that Will Johnson hasn't, coming off injury. I like Jahdae Barron at that point to San Francisco.
So you think that would be the choice there? And the fact that Barron has done all of it and has given a clearer picture is what wins the day there. All right, now the Cowboys are on the clock, Mike Mayock. What happens with the Dallas Cowboys here? 12.
Oh, boy. Dallas has 10 picks, nobody in the fourth. Obviously, I think they have 4 needs: corner, defensive tackle, running back, wide out. I think they could trade down, but the ability to sit here and stick and pick and augment what they have already with CeeDee Lamb, I'm going with Matthew Golden.
You like that? You go why Golden over, say, Omarion Hampton here? What do you think there?
I think Golden. I love Omarion Hampton, and I think the running back class is so deep. You can come back around in the second or third round and get a running back that you love. So I'm not worried about them finding a running back, even though Hampton's a consideration for me. If Genty was here, I might be more tempted. But the ability to sit here and take the first wide receiver in the draft and put every team in the league, especially those NFC East rivals, on notice that now we got 2 guys that can fly. We got 2 guys that can run routes. This kid ran 4.29. He's quick. He catches everything. He's an advanced route runner. You line him up with CeeDee Lamb. I think there's a different look next year with those 2 lining up wide.
Okay. So now the Miami Dolphins are on the clock at 13th overall. And I'm wondering if this might also include the news today, the wrinkle that the Dolphins and Jalen Ramsey appear to be on the outs and willing to separate and give Ramsey an opportunity to find a different place of employment. Would this be now the Michigan corner, Will Johnson, if that does happen, or no, Mike?
I think Will Johnson is in play regardless. Obviously, if the plan is to move on in that building, if something happens and they're able to move on and generate draft picks, it'd be interesting to see what the picks are they get for a 31-year-old guy. He's guaranteed, I forget, 25, 26 million, or I think this year. They would still need, I mean, to be really honest, I kind of went I thought that through. I almost gave him Will Johnson. I said, you know what? The most important thing for this team is keeping Tua upright. And they lost Laramie Tunsil to retirement. And by the way, Tua was a better quarterback when Tunsil was on the field. So they lose Tunsil. I don't like their offensive line. I haven't for the last few years. They've invested some draft capital, but it hasn't worked out the way they had hoped. I'm looking at, and this is probably higher than most people because I love this kid, but I'm looking at Gray Zabel, North Dakota State, who can play all five positions. They can line him up at tackle. They can kick him inside the guard or center. I think this kid is smart. I think he's intensely tough, and they need some of that on that offensive line. They need to kickstart that run game last year that really struggled. But most importantly, they got to keep Tua up and people off of him. I'm going Zabel.
Yeah, I mean, I think you were referring to Teron Armstead, the lineman.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry.
No, all good. No, all good. So Zabel going to the Dolphins. That would be fascinating. So then now you got the Colts at 14, and I know a lot of folks have been basically sharpieing Colston Loveland in there. Would you be the same? You put them there too?
Yeah, I think they were probably disappointed that Tyler Warren went at 10 to Chicago. I've got a grade on Loveland that's only slightly below. And I think some people are saying, what about interior offensive line? We lost Will Freeze. We lost Ryan Kelly, both to Minnesota. But at this point, the quarterback situation is unsettled. You need a weapon, and that is your Michigan guy, Colston Loveland at 14. Really good hands. Big, long guy, can get down the field, run verticals, very effective at all three levels, can beat man coverage, understands and knows where to fit in versus zone. And while he's not a people mover, he's effective enough as a blocker that you can line him up in a lot of different positions. You don't want to just sit him in a Y and tell him to block down on 300-pounders, but he can be an effective and efficient blocker.
The Atlanta Falcons sitting there at 15 do what, do you think, Mike?
I think they need an edge, and
by the way,
I thought about it.
What year is it, Mike?
Yeah.
I mean, that sounds like we've heard that story before for the Falcons.
Yeah. I mean, I was tempted to give him Will Johnson to line up across from Terrell. But at the end of the day, Mike Green from Marshall has a similar grade, and they have a higher need there. So Mike Green for me, quick, twitchy, tough kid. I'm going to give him to Atlanta, and they've needed that for a long time now.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show live weekdays from 12 to 3 p.m. Eastern on Roku Sports Channel in the U.S.